If you're mixing vocals over a 2-track beat, there's some tips and tricks you can use to get a more polished, professional, and glued together mix. And in this video, I'm going to simplify and break them down for you and show you exactly how to dial in a perfectly glued together mix, even if you're only working with a 2-track beat. Of course, mixing with all the stems has its advantages, being able to have more control and flexibility over the beat mix. But a lot of times, even the pros have to mix over a 2-track beat from time to time, so it's important to know these tips. Let's get started. A quick but very important note before we get started. If you're working with a pre-mixed 2-track beat, make sure that you actually like the mix of the beat. It might seem obvious, but no amount of tips and tricks are going to help if there's something fundamentally wrong with the beat mix itself. So if there is something wrong with the beat mix, try to go back to the producer, get a revision, or even get the stems so that you can fix it yourself. Now, the tricks in this video will help you if you have a good sounding beat mix and you're just trying to fit your vocals into that mix. So the biggest problem I see when people are working with a 2-track beat is a big mismatch between the tone of the vocal and the tone of the beat. And this mismatch happens on 3 different levels: tone, dynamics, and space. I'm going to break down each of those in this video and show you how you can match the tone, dynamics, and space of your 2-track beat with your vocals. Because the better you can match these 3 aspects, the more it's going to sound like that vocal is perfectly mixed into the beat. So first, let's look at tone. I've got a couple different sessions we're going to be working with here. Listen to how mismatched the tone of the vocal and the tone of the beat are. In this case, the vocal is extra bright and crisp, a very modern upfront mix, but the 2-track is mixed very dark and dull. Take a listen.
I'm just killing time, waiting for the sickness to take me away. I'm just killing time, waiting for the sickness to take me away.
You can hear how the vocals sound completely separated from the mix because the vocals are super bright and airy and the mix is super dark and dull. So what we need to do is close that gap of the tone. Now, we can do it a couple different ways. We could darken the vocals, but I actually like the way the vocal tone sits in this mix. So instead, I'm going to brighten up the 2-track beat. I've got X-Rack Pro on the 2-track right now, and let's just bring up the highs, high mids, and maybe even a little bit of air.
I'm just killing time, waiting for the sickness to take me away. I'm just killing time, waiting for the sickness to take me away.
So you can hear with these analog match tone curves, they're very smooth and silky on the high end. And by bringing those up in the beat, we're bringing that track closer to the tone of the vocal, and it just makes everything sound fuller and more glued together. Now, I can also use a little bit of OTT if I want to squeeze the high end together a little bit more in this track.
I'm just killing time, waiting for the sickness to take me away. I'm just killing time, waiting for the sickness to take me away. And I wanna fight it, I don't need it no more, I'm already gone.
So you can hear when we apply this processing to the 2-track beat, it makes the beat and the vocal sound much more glued together. And that's what we're looking for from a tone perspective. We're trying to bring the tone closer together so they match. Let's listen to another track. This time we have kind of the opposite problem. The track is nice and bright and crisp, but the vocal hasn't been touched yet, and so it sounds kind of dull and dry in comparison.
You had that missing piece, brought back my sanity. You did everything right, more love, more life with you. All seasons come.
So in this session, the problem isn't just the tone, but it's also the dynamics and the space matching between the vocal and the track. So let's start with dynamics. We need to apply enough compression so that this vocal sits right on top of the beat. We don't want it to dip back into the beat on some words and jump out on others. We want to just apply the right amount of compression to bring it forward and sit right on top of the beat.
You had that missing piece, brought back my sanity. You did everything right, more love, more life with you. Oh, seasons come and they go, 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 go. I can feel it changing, do you feel it?
So with compression, it brings the vocal forward in the mix and helps it sit in front of the track. And that's exactly what we're looking for. We want to apply just enough compression to where all the details and articulation of the vocal are clearly heard. And this is going to vary with different tracks. Some tracks are going to be much emptier and might not need as much compression on the vocal. Other tracks like this one might be a little bit busier, so we might need to add a little bit more compression to help that vocal sit up front. Of course, we can apply a little de-essing to smooth out any harsh S's.
You had that missing piece, brought back my sanity. You did everything right, more love, more life with you. Oh, seasons come.
So next, let's look at the tone. We know that this vocal feels a little dull in comparison to the track. There's some really bright elements in the track, like the hi-hats and some of the synths. So we want to bring this vocal forward in the highs a little bit more.
You had that missing piece, brought back my sanity. You did everything right, more love, more life with you. Oh, seasons come and they go, 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 go. I can feel it changing, do you feel it? Hate to leave you hanging.
So again, we're using the track to kind of dictate how bright or dark or open we need this vocal to sound. And it's really easy to dial in with these 4 sliders in Xvox Pro. If we need more air or highs or mids, we can just easily kind of massage this vocal until it sounds like roughly the same tone as the track. So now that brings us to the third thing we need to check, which is space. We need to make sure that the space that the vocal is in is similar to the spaces we hear in the track. So take a listen to it right now. What you're going to hear is the vocal sounds very stark, very dry, like it's on its own up here, and the rest of the track is, kind of washed out.
You had that missing piece, brought back my sanity. You did everything right, more love, more life with you. Oh.
So this lead vocal is just kind of all off on its own. It sounds very dry in comparison. And that's because of a couple things. Number one, the background vocals have a good amount of reverb on them, which sounds really nice. But also within the track itself, you're going to hear a lot of big, lush spaces. Listen to the reverb that's on the synth line. Listen to, the pad, which is very big and round sounding. So there's a lot of these big, lush spaces in the track. We need to kind of add one of those to the vocal as well. So I'm going to look for some bigger, darker spaces here in Xvox Pro.
You had that missing piece, brought back my sanity. You did everything right, more love, more life with you. Oh, seasons come and they go, 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 go. I can feel it changing, do you feel it? Hate to leave you hanging while I'm healing.
So instantly you can hear how adding that reverb to the vocal just helps it sit in the mix much better. It no longer sounds like it's stark and on its own and the track is behind it. It now sounds like the vocal is really in the track. And that's because not only we got the space right, we got the right amount of space, but we also have a matched tone and the dynamics are helping that vocal sit up front and not get lost in the mix. So take a listen before and after Xvox Pro on this vocal.
You had that missing piece, brought back my sanity. You did everything right, more love, more life with you. leave you hanging while I'm healing.
Now, one thing to mention with space, if you're feeling like the vocal is getting a little too washed out, but you still want to have that big lush reverb, you can always use a little bit of verb duck here just to duck the reverb out of the way just when it's needed when the dry vocal is there. And that's going to help make it clearer and more articulated, but you're still going to have that big vocal space to help it sit in the mix. So to recap, mixing vocals over a 2-track beat is really about getting 3 things right between the vocals and the beat. And that is the tone, the dynamics, and the space. And what you're trying to do is match the direction of the beat with the vocal. If we had a super dry, stark beat with not much reverb on it, then probably we want to have a drier vocal to kind of match the vibe of the beat. At the same time, if we have a track like this with really ambient sounds and a lot of reverb, then we probably want the vocal to also have a bigger, more lush space. So when you're working with this, listen to the beat and listen to your vocals and compare the two on these 3 levels and try to bring them closer together, either by processing the beat or by processing the vocals. And that's going to help you identify what processing you need in order to get that vocal to sound like it's in the mix. If you match the tone, dynamics, and space well, you're going to have a perfect mix with your 2-track beat. If you enjoyed this video and learned something, leave us a comment, give it a like, and subscribe for more tutorials like this. And as always, happy mixing.